thing that night. But then the next day they had Bobby Stroop talk for 6 hours, which was or 5 or 6 hours or whatever it was. It was a lot. And so it was kind of a mix of presentation and hands-on stuff. And that was really good. I mean, he had some good, some thoughts that I know, Chris, you've definitely talked about as far as just movement, kind of because he's got a PT background, and then training wise, integrating all that stuff. I think a big line from him that I really liked was, I know what you don't have to do. You can do whatever you want, but I know what I don't need to do to get better and improve whatever it is, which I personally really like that, because I know I can at least speak from when you're working with different coaches. They're like, hey, we did this back 20 years ago or 10 years ago and it got the job done. And I might disagree with it. And hey, I can still do this other thing and get that done. So I know what I don't have to do. And the other part that I really liked was he was making the point that our programs as a strength and conditioning coach, and he wasn't using that term, but our job should be talent identification. So if a coach comes to us, we should be able to say, these kids have, the most potential at these skills or just overall talent. And if your program is not broad enough or isn't testing or tracking or training the right things, you're not going to be able to do that. And that's a huge resource as a strength coach to be able to identify talent. I know that's a big thing that I'm doing at our school, particularly just kind of with the jumps and sprints that we do. Of like, if there's a random kid that comes to workouts and I get him on a fly or I get him on a jump, I'll text the track coach that day and say, hey, I got this kid. I don't know if you've talked to him, but they had a really good fly time, really good jump. Might be something you want to look at as far as getting them out for the sport.
Wow.
Whatever that, and it applies for track, but it can do any of your other teams. I know with our football team, there's different kids. You get them on the laser and all the other stuff, and it's like, hey, man, this kid has this physical potential, but if we can bring up the football ability or the knowledge, I guess you would say, there's going to be a ton of potential there. Chris, Blair, I don't know if y'all have a thought there as far as the talent identification piece.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Blair.
If you look at colleges, we're always talking multi-sport athletes, right? And you're only going to benefit from being in other sports. So if you have someone who's just playing football, right, and you see that in the weight room, on the field, they are fast, they are explosive, getting them reps in track or some other sport might benefit them. There's no doubt about it. We know that. But, if you have the ability to, track data, right? Now you have a quantitative way to show that. And, hey, let's get this guy out with the track coach. That's going to help him, I think. That's what came to my mind.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool way to word it, and kind of another motivating factor for us to keep data and track and quantify and all that, like you were just saying, Blair. I think especially for you guys having hands more in the high school setting, that's absolutely perfect, right? And where I'm at in college, I can help coaches understand, like, hey, this guy's really fast, and if he's slow in the sport, it's probably because he has no idea what he's doing, right? And then be like, you should coach him up on the IQ of the game, or go over your systems, or go over video with them. Because I've had coaches say all the time, man, this guy is just like a deer in the headlights. He's so slow out there. And I'll just say, like, no, he's they're one of the fastest athletes we have. So clearly their lack of speed during the game or during the competition comes from just freezing, not knowing what to do with their body, the lack of skill, the lack of game IQ. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's awesome, Ross, that someone will run a good 10 fly and you'll text the coach and be like, hey, just so you know, we have this stud here in our school who should be running. That's big time. So that's a good point. And